What's up, YouTube? Back with another review. Sorry for the frustrating review I had last time, but you know, I finally got the tentacles on Dr. Octopus. That's what he looks like there. But I mean, this is just a posable figure. That's all he is. He's not meant to be played with, so shouldn't get so frustrated over it. It's just that you got quality control issues. You need to address them. When you sell a car, you have to worry about whether the car's going to be a lemon or not, but you can't worry that every single one's going to be a lemon. So you got to let a few through the cracks, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You pay the consequences for the one vehicle instead of the rest of them. So same thing goes for figures. There's so many of them, and I'm sure that some quality control slips through, and sometimes they make a lemon. The Pinto wasn't necessarily the greatest car of all time, but Ford decided to produce a bunch of them. And you don't see any Pintos on the road today, do you? Well, let's move on from Pinto. We're going to go to the Hummer of villains. This guy is a bad boy. There he is, folks. Rhino. This seems to be the newest incarnation of Rhino, but he looks a lot cooler this way because that whole plain gray spandex looking Rhino suit looked kind of cheesy and out of date. This one looks more aggressive. It's got armor plates and very similar to how Rhino has layered leathered plates going around his skin. That makes a lot more sense. Having an actual Rhino's head. Got the eyes right there, if you can see it, the horn, and it's fitted around his head. It's almost like Craven made this outfit for him. It's got the Rhino toes. That's cool. So, this is also part of the Fiercest Foe collection, and he was kind of a rarity. Depending on what part of the country you live, you probably saw a bunch of them, or you didn't see any of them at all. I bought him when I first started collecting back in May. I grabbed him because he was a very full figure. You can see packaging's very big, and I had met some guy that was collecting figures, and he was only looking for a full figured packaging. And I asked him, what was the point of that? And he's like, oh, I don't collect anything but the full figures and the Hulks and the Juggernauts. And I'm like, why? That doesn't make any sense. Like, you're gonna have a whole collection of big figures just because you pay $7-8 for a figure that should be worth $10 that you think you're getting a value because Hasbro's using more plastic. I thought that was kind of idiotic, but I can see where that logic comes from. I just don't agree with him. Figures should be based on what you got out there. If you had a lineup full of Hulks and Abomination, then you're going to use a lot of plastic. You're going to charge more money. But if you have a couple things, a couple Hulks, maybe a Colossus here and there, and a big old Rhino like this guy, they haven't even made an Abomination for the 3 3/4 inch figure lineup yet. So I'm sure that's going to be a pretty big figure, and we'll see down the line what that looks like. But for now, we've got Rhino, and I talked last review briefly about the iconic image that these villains bring. Spiderman's one of the few characters in the Marvel Universe that have memorable villains. Spider-Man, this guy up here, he's a memorable hero, but his villains are just as memorable as he is. They make who he is. They make him fighting crime worth it, because when you think Wolverine's got, got 2 or 3 villains, Omega Red and Sabretooth, and maybe his son now, and he's got guys that been thrown into a story arc that don't make any sense. Like the Lycophan group or whatever, that Wolverine was a werewolf. It was stupid story lineup, but he's a very popular guy, and he doesn't have many villains that stand out. Even Captain America, as big as he's getting today, he really just fights the Red Skull over and over again. Maybe some Hydra characters, and what is that guy, Baron Zemo, and Zola. You got the Incredible Hulk's got the Abomination. Fantastic Four fights Galactus. Maybe some Skrulls. Maybe the Inhumans, but they're not memorable. They're not characters that most people identify with. People identify with the Rhino. People identify with the Hobgoblin, the Green Goblin. They identify with the Scorpion, the Lizard, the Shocker. These are Venom, Carnage. These are characters that stand out and represent different people. and different techniques. The Sandman's also a very classic figure, and I think we're going to see a lot of good figures down that line. Obviously, Craven's coming down the pike, and I can't wait to see what other ideas they've come up with for figures in this scale. But the detail is awesome. The technology they're using is great. The paint is phenomenal. It doesn't look cheesy, except for that Dr. Octopus I just reviewed. But without further ado, let's get this bad boy open. That's a big boy. He's heavy. When I tell you he's heavy, he's heavy. I mean, right off the bat, he's got rubber bands holding his arms down. I don't know why, but he just does. Oh, it's holding the shoulder pads down. Forgot. Permanent. Well, let's talk a little bit about Rhino. Well, Rhino, like other villains of his era, needed a very simple explanation on why he was causing ruckus in New York City. New York has seen its share of villains, you know. Lex Luthor has seen villains like Doc Ock, the Green Goblin, Doctor Doom is an import villain. Comes from another country to cause ruckus, but you know what? This thing just comes right off. So I don't know why I have such a hard time with small things like this. I get frustrated with it too easy. There you go. All right, so here we go. And of course, we've got the Rhino. Rhino is one of these figures that, one of these characters that, when he started attacking Spider-Man, it was because he was a experiment. Experiment gone wrong. And why it went wrong, I don't know. Seems like the government always was involved in some sort of experimentation where guys like Rhino were cheap and expendable, and things didn't go right, they can always kill him. But it seems the government back in the 60s didn't really know how to get their things together, because guys like Rhino managed to escape every single time. The Sandman, the Shocker, the Scorpion, the Rhino. You know, this rubber band thing is really annoying. It's everywhere. I hope it's not supposed to go there, bro. And you know, the interesting thing about these characters is every time they create these monsters and they want to try on new technology and see how it works and how it can be used in the field, it always backfires on them. So I gotta ask this question: like, if you were a government scientist and they told you, "Hey, we need you to create an armor that can withstand bullets in the battlefield," and manage to create that armor, why would you pick a criminal to? Not only that, why would you pick a big criminal? This guy's a linebacker. He's huge. You know, this guy could definitely, he's big as Vince Wilfork, and I'm a Dolphin fan. I'm really scared of that guy. You know, why would you pick this guy? Like, you're asking for a super soldier armor to basically be bulletproof, flexible, and easy to maintain. Why would you ask a guy this big to wear it, knowing he's got a prior record, knowing that he can't be trusted? He's a criminal. I mean, what were you thinking? Well, whatever it was, it worked out for us, because if you're a Rhino fan like I am, you will be very happy to know that Rhino is a bad mother. You know what? And he's been in Spider-Man's hair for quite some time. I mean, he's big and brawny. He's not that bright, but when he gets going like a Rhino, he charges and he F's things up, you know what I mean? I don't know how this thing went back, but so I'm pretty happy with this figure. I mean, I don't know what these shoulder pads go anymore, but oh, these are the shoulder pads. I may have messed this figure up by taking those rubber bands off, so forgive me if I'm an idiot. I guess they're flexible and they kind of stay on like that. That's cool. I can live with that. So, but yeah, I mean, Rhino is he's a quality figure. I mean, look at this guy. He's very heavy, like almost a pound. That kind of heavy. And yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. Those rubber bands may have been the reason they were whatever. But yeah, he's even without them. I mean, even without those pads, he's an imposing figure. He's very big. I mean, he's a heavy boy. There's just little pads and stuff. And we put him a size comparison. Next to everybody's favorite black costume, Spider-Man. You know, like when Spider-Man was wearing this costume, he managed to throw this guy around and, you know, toss him around like he was a rag doll. But it's hard to believe. But Rhino's a very intimidating character. So yeah, I mean, he's very limited. Like, he doesn't have a lot of articulation. He doesn't have a lot of articulation in his arm. He's got the ball jointed shoulder. He's got the hinged elbow. He's got the thigh bicep swivel. He's got a ball jointed thigh, but no leg articulation, no knee, no ankle. Very similar to how they set up Venom, but I guess the kind of figure that he is, it wouldn't bother you too much. Because Venom, I can see that it bothers me some because Venom does pose and climb walls and do things, but Rhino just charges and he doesn't let anything get in his way. One of my favorite villains. Stupid, strong, brawly, and tough to take down. But he's not the most invincible character in the Marvel Universe, but he's one of the most fun characters to have. You know, it's just a cool concept. There was a hippo that had nothing to do with Rhino, but there was a character called the Hippo, and I think he died and somehow came back during the Civil War, but got his legs eaten off by somebody. I couldn't remember. I got to look at that story, but Google it. There's a guy named Hippo, you know, very similar to how the Rhino is, very tough to stop, and a guy who wouldn't get in his way, but this is a cool figure to have. Very nice to have in my collection. I'm really disappointed that none of the Spider-Man figures in the Spider-Man lineup, they don't have any waist articulation. You know, you can't turn them, you can't twist them. That's pretty much it. They're just a torso with legs and arms. But luckily the head is posable. It just spins around. Oh, it's look at that. It's a jointed. It's a swiveling head. It goes up and down. I guess for charging poses. That's cool. I learn something new every day. Look at that. It's got the peg holes underneath like everything else, and you'll be seeing more reviews from me. I think I'm out of villains, so this is my last villain I'll be reviewing after we're taking a small villain hiatus until I get my Shocker and Stretch Strike Venom, and hopefully that Craven. Next review we'll be doing Spider-Man and his friends. So stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of those. Spider-Man does do a lot of team-ups. And I'm not going to go into Avengers or anything like that. But it's going to be pretty cool. I got some new stuff like Spider-Man and Captain Britain. Spider-Man and the Toys R Us exclusive with his amazing friends with Iceman, Firestar. And even Spider-Man's girlfriend, Mary Jane. I love you, Mary Jane. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy. Subscribe.